Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. All right, let's get into this about what's going on here. Tomorrow starts that big truckers convoy, if you will, going to San Diego, Tucson, and Eagle Pass. Are you going to participate? Or for those that are going to participate, what are the stakes? Okay. Give you this if anybody's seen it. There is another caravan coming up from the southern border or from down south, South America. This one's got about 1,800 people in it so far, and apparently the Mexican authorities are assisting again these people to cross Mexico, helping them commit a crime by coming into the United States illegally. Okay. So what happens to them when they get here? Well, y'all know they're given money and hotels and transportation and phones and food, et cetera, et cetera. All those things that American citizens don't get. Okay. Being here legally has its penalties. Okay. Being here illegally, we put you up on a pedestal. But that really shouldn't surprise anybody with what's going on in the country right now. We've talked about bizarro world numerous times. Everything that is backwards is what's going on in the United States. How much justice is there for you if something happens? Sorry. You're arrested for whatever. Let's use the January 6th guys. They're arrested, they're incarcerated, they're not charged. Where's the justice? There isn't any. Let's take a look at a couple of things that have happened this week about a perversion of justice. You probably saw the civil trial from Donald Trump in New York was ended this week, and the jury awarded E. Jean Carroll $83.3 million. Now, hopefully, that decision, that award is completely squashed and never goes anywhere. I mean, I liken this one to the woman 30 years ago or whatever it is that was awarded so much money for spilling hot coffee on her lap, McDonald's. I want you to watch what Trump's attorney said after the case was over. And there's a point here, and then I'm going to go on. But watch this real quick.
No. I'm glad you asked me that question. No, I'm not having any second thoughts about representing President Trump. It is the proudest thing I could ever do. What I am having second thoughts about is the license that I stand here with that the people in there are supposed to have. I have not spoken because I respect my ethics while I'm on trial. But let me now speak about what has happened. I have sat on trial after trial for months in this state, the state of New York. Attorney General Letitia James, and now this. Weeks. Why? Because President Trump is leading in the polls, and now we see what you get in New York. So don't get it twisted, whoever asked me that question. I am so proud to stand with President Trump. But I am not proud to stand with what I saw in that courtroom. I'm not finished. Let me just finish and I'll take questions, please. Before I walked into court, that judge decided that every single defense President Trump had, we were not allowed to raise in front of the jury. It is in writing, and I encourage the journalists, the real journalists, to take the minute to look at his orders. There was no proof. And I couldn't prove that she didn't bring in the dress. There was no DNA. There was no expert. My experts were denied. Two of them were denied to come in. They didn't let me bring up that Reid Hoffman funded Miss Kaplan. And you know what we got in there? That my witness, who was her friend, who said that she is a drug addict and the drug addict is herself. That friend, I found out in there, was paid for by Miss Kaplan's firm, and that is disgusting. That is a violation of everything I stand for, and that is why I stand with Trump. And that is why so many Americans are so proud that he is running again and so excited to run to the ballot box. But don't get it twisted. We are seeing a violation of our justice system. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not allowed to be stripped of every defense that you have. You are not allowed to be told that you can't bring it up. And imagine a point where a judge tells the lawyer, before your client, the former president of the United States, the leading candidate and obvious nominee for the Republican Party, before he takes the stand to defend himself, Ms. Haba, tell me the questions you're going to ask in open court and tell me exactly what he's going to respond. And then edited my questions, edited the response he was allowed to give. And guess what my client did? He took the stand. He abided by the rules of this corrupt system that I have seen. We will immediately appeal. We will set aside that ridiculous jury. And I just want to remind you all of one thing. I will continue with President Trump to fight for everybody's First Amendment right to speak. Everybody's a right to defend themselves when they are wrongfully accused, and to be able to say, I didn't do it. And to double and triple and quadruple down and say, this is wrong. This is wrong. But we are in the state of New York. We are in a New York jury, and that is why we are seeing these witch hunts, these hoaxes, as he calls them. And this is another one of them. Be brought in New York, in states where they know they will get juries like this. It will not deter us. We're fighting. And I assure you, we didn't win today, but we will. The record that was made in there and the behavior I saw in there, some of which was reported widely today, gave us the most perfect record on appeal. And even if I needed it, which I don't, we were stripped of every defense, every single defense before we walked in there. And I am proud to stand with President Trump because he showed up, he stood up, he took the stand, and he faced this judge. And you know what? I'll continue to do so.
Not allowed to present a defense at all. Not allowed to call witnesses. When the judge wants to know what questions and what answers are going to be given and then edits them and says, oh, you're only allowed to say this. Refusing to allow for discovery. I mean, again, I'm no lawyer, but there is more unethical acts being done in this case than you can shake a stick at. Okay? But that's the justice that an American citizen gets in this country. Be it Donald Trump, be it the ex-president, be it hopefully the future president of the country. But that's the justice for anybody in this United States. If you go against the liberal machine, they'll crush you. Okay? Now, let's look at the other side. Did you guys see the case this week of the woman in California who stabbed her boyfriend 108 times and killed him? Yeah. Well, she learned her fate this week. Okay. Yeah, she got probation, 2 years probation, and 100 hours of community service for murder. Now you can say, well, it wasn't first-degree murder. I don't care. Second-degree murder, okay, manslaughter. She got probation and 100 hours of community service. I want to give you this. That's less of a punishment for murder than you get in most states if you get a DUI. Not hurting somebody, not causing a car accident, not causing any property damage. If you were driving down the street after a few beers and got arrested, okay, you're going to lose your license. You're going to have court costs. You're going to have probation. You're going to have fines. You're going to have higher insurance rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In California, based on this case, you are considered more of a criminal if you had a couple of beers before driving, which I'm not condoning, trust me, okay, than if you murder somebody. Is that a perversion of justice? I'd say it is. So what happens this week when people go down to Texas, Arizona, California to stand side by side with the Border Patrol, with the National Guard? Are they arrested? Are they thrown in jail with no charges ever filed against them? Because God knows we can't throw the illegals in jail. We have to let them out. But if an American citizen stands up and says, no, this is my country and I'm going to protect it, what justice is there for them? Now, remember the Canadian trucker deal, that the government went after people, went after the protesters, or not the protesters, the convoy participants, and froze their bank accounts. Remember all the people that donated via PayPal or anything like that, and the government seized the money, refused to let it go to the participants. What happens to you if you're just going to support them from Boise, Idaho, and you said, hey, I'm going to send them $20 so some guy can get a sandwich while he's down there? What happens? Okay. Where are these people going to stay? Right? Okay. Hotels inevitably are going to be completely booked. Truck drivers, okay, probably most of them are going to have, a sleeping quarters in their cab. Okay. You ever tried to sleep in a car? Okay, not exactly comfortable, especially if you're my size. So people are going to try to get hotels. You don't think the three-letter agencies are going to book all the hotels to make sure there's nowhere to sleep, to do whatever they can to dissuade an American citizen from pursuing justice? How many feds are going to be down there like they were on January 6th? Okay. Remember what happens with January 6th again. You weren't even in the Capitol. You weren't even in the general vicinity of the Capitol. Yet now, 3 years later, the feds are going and knocking on people's doors and saying, you were in Washington, D.C. that day. We're going to take you in for questioning. Yeah, I was visiting grandma in the hospital. Yeah, I went over to Arlington because my son was killed in one of the wars that we shouldn't have been in. And I was visiting his grave. That doesn't matter. You were in Washington that day, and we know you're a conservative because on your social media page once you said MAGA or you said Trump. And all of a sudden, therefore, we consider you a participant, a domestic terrorist. This is the justice that we are getting in the United States. You look at what's going on in Texas, Greg Abbott. Granted, there's a lot of people that don't like Greg Abbott, okay? I've heard people call him, a globalist, a member of the World Economic Forum, yeah, whatever, okay? Is Greg Abbott doing the right thing? Yes. Does Greg Abbott always do the right thing? No, nor does any other politician, okay? Even Donald Trump had some fuck-ups, let's put it that way. Supporting the arm ticket was not exactly his shining moment as a president. But he's doing the right thing here. But then we have our greatest nemesis, George Soros, is pumping in millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to flip Texas blue. Do you think the criminal activity that he supports, i.e. Antifa and BLM, okay, follow the money, okay, who's responsible for the burning down of buildings, say in Portland or whatever, follow the money, it goes back to George Soros. Where's the justice? You always hear about the feds going after drug dealers, for example. oh, we don't want the little street seller. He's not important. We want the big guy. We want to get information from him so we can go up the chain because we want to go after, and I mean, pick something, Pablo Escobar. Okay, that was the ultimate goal. Well, who's the equivalent to Pablo Escobar in domestic terrorism and liberalism? George Soros. So why are they so worried about leaving the little guy alone and not going after the big fish, but they're worried about taking the soccer mom who they persecuted in the school board meeting because she didn't want her 6-year-old taught about gay sex? Where is the justice in this country? This is what we are going to have to deal with this year until this election. We need to completely clean out the government, the legal system, everywhere, because it's corrupt beyond belief. How can it be done? I wish I had an answer. If I did, we'd all be starting it. Okay. Electing Trump may do a couple of things. It ain't going to do everything. All the people that say, oh, we need a revolution, that may do a couple of things. It's not going to do everything. But what we need to do is insulate ourselves from the domestic terrorists, otherwise known as liberals, in this country, and be ready to face the music when they come for you. Because, guys, as Trump said one time, and he's right, they're not coming for me, they're coming for you. I'm just standing in the way. He's right. They're coming for us. And it's up to us. Be ready.